What is going on, Packers Nation? This is Victor, and I need you locked in today because we're talking about a situation that could completely reshape the future of this team. I'm not exaggerating. There are two massive storylines developing right now, and somehow they're connected. On one side, we've got a young, electric, dual-threat quarterback who went from being labeled raw and inconsistent early in his career to becoming one of the most efficient backups in football over the last 2 seasons in Green Bay. In just 11 appearances, he threw 6 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and added 3 rushing scores, 0 picks. That's not luck, that's growth. Now here's the wild part. League insiders believe he could command at least $30 million per year on the open market. $30 million a year for a player who started the year as a backup. And one AFC contender, a team stuck in offensive purgatory for years, is reportedly circling hard. They might be desperate enough to pay it, but that's only half the story. Because floating around right now is a trade proposal that would send that same ascending quarterback out of Green Bay in exchange for a defensive superstar. I'm talking about a veteran alpha, a championship-tested corner, a 3-time first-team All-Pro, a player who can shadow elite receivers, press at the line, slide into the slot, rotate to safety, and completely change how an entire defense operates. This isn't just a good player. This is a tone setter, a matchup eraser, a guy who walks into the locker room with instant credibility. And if you watched the Packers' secondary last season, you know why this conversation is even happening. The cornerback group combined for just 1 interception all year. 1. Injuries, inconsistency, penalties in critical moments. When the season was on the line, that unit didn't deliver. So now the question becomes, do you flip a rising quarterback asset in a league starving for QB talent for an established defensive force who could immediately push this team closer to championship contention? Or do you hold on to the young signal caller, protect your depth behind Jordan Love, and trust that development beats splash moves? This is roster-building philosophy at its highest level. Are we in win-now mode, or are we protecting long-term stability? Packers Nation, I need your take in the comments, because this one is going to divide the fan base. And before we break down the cap numbers, the risk factor, and whether this blockbuster scenario even makes sense, smash that like button and subscribe to Packers Nation Report. We're pushing for 2,000 subscribers, and I only want the real diehards, the fans who bleed green and gold. If that's you, hit subscribe right now. All right, let's unpack what could be one of the boldest off-season decisions in recent Packers history. Let's talk about Malik Willis, because his price tag, it just went through the roof. According to NFL insider Jordan Schultz, teams at the Combine in Indianapolis believe it's basically a foregone conclusion that Willis will command at least $30 million per year in free agency. $30 million per year. Let that sink in for a second. The Pittsburgh Steelers are reportedly one of the teams monitoring the situation, especially with Aaron Rodgers' future still uncertain heading into the new league year. Now let's break this down the right way, not emotionally, but analytically. Over the past 2 seasons backing up Jordan Love in Green Bay, Willis has played in 11 games. In that time, he's thrown 6 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and added 3 rushing touchdowns, 0 picks. That's efficiency. That's ball security. That's development. And remember, this is a guy who, with the Tennessee Titans, struggled early in his career. But in Green Bay, he refined his mechanics, improved his decision-making, learned how to operate within structure. He went from raw athlete to legitimate NFL quarterback prospect, and in a weak quarterback market, scarcity drives price. Last offseason, Justin Fields signed a 2-year, $40 million deal with the New York Jets, with $30 million guaranteed. So when you hear Willis could get $30 million per year in this market, it's not as crazy as it sounds. But here's where things get really interesting. There's another possible path floating around. Instead of Pittsburgh paying Willis $30 million+ per year outright, what if the Packers re-sign him first? Something like 2 years, $30 million, roughly $15 million per season. Then trade him. Why would that matter? Because the Steelers are also connected to Jalen Ramsey, who is owed nearly $70 million over the next 3 years, including around $17 million this season alone. If Pittsburgh moved Ramsey in a deal involving Willis, they'd free up cap flexibility while getting their quarterback. From Green Bay's perspective, you potentially control the asset first, then flip him for value. Now let me give you my honest fan take. Malik Willis has value, real value. He's 26, athletic, protects the football, and still hasn't even started a full season. There's upside there. Teams are betting on projection. But here's the reality. As long as Jordan Love is healthy, Willis is QB2 in Green Bay. If another team views him as QB1 and is willing to pay like it, that's an opportunity. The question is, do the Packers capitalize on that opportunity? Do you let him walk and collect a compensatory pick? Do you re-sign and trade? Or do you keep one of the best backup QBs in football for insurance? And let's not ignore the risk. If Love ever misses time, you'd feel very comfortable with Willis stepping in. 6 touchdowns, 0 picks, mobility, that's stability. This is roster economics at its finest. Quarterback scarcity is inflating value. The Steelers are desperate for clarity at the position. And the Packers might be sitting on one of the most valuable backup assets in the league. I want to hear from you. If Malik Willis really commands $30 million per year, do you let him walk? Do you re-sign and flip him in a trade? Or do you shock everyone and keep him? Drop your takes in the comments. Let's debate this. This is Victor. And no matter what happens with Malik Willis, go Pack go! Packers Nation, I need you to buckle up for this one. Because the trade proposal floating around right now, it's the kind of move that could either push the Green Bay Packers back into Super Bowl contention or completely divide this fan base. Before we dive in, hit that like button, subscribe to Packers Nation Report, and help us reach our goal of 2,000 subscribers. We're building the most passionate Packers community on YouTube, and I want you riding with us all off-season. All right, let's talk about it. A new proposal from Bleacher Report suggests the Green Bay Packers trade backup quarterback Malik Willis and a 2026 fifth-round pick to the Pittsburgh Steelers in exchange for 3-time All-Pro corner Jalen Ramsey. Yes, that Jalen Ramsey. And if your first reaction is, wait, what? You're not alone. Let's start with the obvious. Cornerback was a problem last season. There's no sugarcoating it. The trio of Kysee and Nixon, Nate Hobbs, and Carrington Valentine combined for 1 interception all year. Nixon's game-saving pick against the Bears. That's it. 1. For a defense that blew multiple late leads down the stretch, that lack of takeaways in crunch time was brutal. Nixon led the league in passes defensed, which sounds great, until you realize he also led the NFL in penalties. He's aggressive, he competes, but he's inconsistent. The good news? His contract is team-friendly. He's almost certainly back in 2026. Then there's Nate Hobbs. General manager Brian Gutekunst gave him a 4-year, $48 million deal last offseason. At the time, it raised eyebrows. Over his final 3 years with the Raiders, Hobbs played just 35 of 51 possible games and had 2 interceptions. Sure enough, injuries followed him to Green Bay. Knee issues, missed the start, middle, and end of the season. Played just 11 games, started 5, saw only 32% of the defensive snaps, and finished with 0 interceptions. That's not impact production. Not at that price. Carrington Valentine? Solid in coverage, sure. But he went from forcing 4 turnovers in 2024 to 0 in 2025. And his tackling? Let's be honest, it's still a liability. So when analysts say corner is the biggest need on this roster, they're not wrong. Now enter Jalen Ramsey. Ramsey is a 3-time All-Pro, 2017, 2020, and 2021. A Super Bowl champion with the Los Angeles Rams. A guy who can shadow WR1s, play press man, drop into zone, line up outside, slide into the slot. He can even rotate into safety looks. He's not just a corner, he's a chess piece. Even though his interception totals have dipped slightly in recent seasons, he's still performing at a Pro Bowl level. Quarterbacks still hesitate when targeting him. Offensive coordinators still game plan around him. And here's the key. The Packers don't need him to be 2017 Ramsey. They need him to stabilize the secondary, create matchup flexibility, and bring veteran swagger to a young defense. Imagine this, Ramsey locking down the opponent's top receiver. That frees up help elsewhere. That creates more aggressive blitz packages. That gives our pass rush more time to get home. Defensively, that's a ripple effect. Now let's talk about the price. Malik Willis and a 5th-round pick. On paper, that feels light for a player with Ramsey's resume. But there's context here. Ramsey carries a big contract, roughly $72 million remaining. Any team trading for him is absorbing serious cap commitment. And here's the tough part for Packers fans. Moving Willis. Willis showed flashes, athleticism, arm strength, growth in decision-making. He developed nicely behind Jordan Love. But let's be real. As long as Love is healthy, Willis is a backup. If you can turn a backup quarterback and a day 3 pick into an all-pro defensive back, that's aggressive roster building. It's risky, but it's bold. And here's something else to consider. Gutekunst has a history of signing a veteran and then doubling down in the draft. This corner class is deep. You could trade for Ramsey and draft a young developmental corner to groom behind him. Short-term impact. Long-term planning. The real question is philosophical. Do you build slowly through youth and patience? Or do you make a win-now swing while Jordan Love is ascending? Because let's not forget, the window in the NFL doesn't stay open forever. I want to hear from you, Packers Nation. Would you trade Malik Willis and a fifth-round pick for Jalen Ramsey? Is Ramsey still elite enough to be a game-changer? Or would you rather invest in the draft and keep building organically? Drop your takes in the comments. I'm reading them all. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit like, subscribe to Packers Nation Report, and help us reach 2,000 subscribers. We're just getting started, and this offseason is going to be wild. This is Victor, and as always, go Pack Go!